Hi everyone, today is Wednesday and we are midway to the week, and I just want to look at if the market is recovering and if we are back to the bullish momentum. So let's go ahead and look at S&P 500 chart. So I would like to first look at the hourly chart because we've been trending down since the war started below this Ichimoku red cloud, as you see. And it looks like the price wants to break above this cloud, and the cloud about to turn green. But I would like this to test at least 661 levels, which is correlating to 200 moving day average for the hourly. But this looks like a V-shaped recovery. But to be sure that this is not a dead cat bounce, we need to, confirm that this goes above 661 levels, because there's two gaps here. It could actually easily fill these gaps before even go above 661 levels. So for the daily, the price was trending below the blue line, which is Tenkan-sen for the Ichimoku. And it actually broke above that. As I said, this was my level, 632. It touched it and then it came back above that. So let's see what's going on with moving averages. For the moving averages, there's like a big conversion line here with 200-day moving average and 100-day moving average. 662 level is a really big level for us to break above to confirm that this uptrend is intact. However, we could just be trading at these levels because yesterday and today was a lot of institutional movement happening because it was quarterly rebalancing day. So between 2 days before and 2 days after this quarterly rebalancing and monthly rebalancing, there's a lot of trading happening, especially right now for the semiconductor stocks. And VIX also went below 30 levels. Right now it's trading at 23.95. Also, another reason why this is happening because of the news coming from Trump. Obviously, Iran said that they are rejecting the Trump statements that Tehran asked for a ceasefire. So I'm not actually on my trading, not looking at the war news a lot because I know it could be a short term depending on the, news, what Trump said, what Iran said. So I like to look at my indicators and macroeconomics. So if you look at the CMM Fed Watch again for the interest rates, what's going on? Last week, it went all the way to 58% for the interest rate hike over here. And after the Powell's pick, it went down to 0, which means that we're now safe from interest rate hike. And which means we could be going into recession just like what happened in 2021. For next year, we're pricing over 50%, 62% for the interest rate cut. One more, I would say almost like, looks like definitive. So if the war ends and the energy goes down, it could just, goes hike more like next year, like maybe January, March, we may be getting another rate cut, which means when the rate cut happens, the stocks tend to go up. It is really good for us. So that's what I'm looking. Yeah, obviously the wars has a lot of impact on the stock market for the short term, but I like to look at it on the long term. So yeah, we may be seeing this V-shaped recovery here if the price goes above 661, which is also aligning with the red line of Ichimoku. So if you look at the pivot lines right now, price is testing actually went above 656 area here. We would like to close above 656 to see, we are uptrending. And if you look at the Bollinger Band for the daily is about to get close to the middle Bollinger Band line, which is 660. That's also, why this is so critical, that 660 level. We have to close above this to see, more upside momentum. to see that this is just not noise and this is just not what Trump wants us to see and act on. So it's not a trap for us. And then let's look at the weekly. Also, I want to look at the RSI. RSI looks like is reversing from the oversold areas, almost coming to the 50. We want to see it going above 50 to see that this is going into a bullish trend. I like that because next week this thing was going down. Now it looks like it found its bottom. But I'm not super hopeful about this. It could just go all the way here and bounce down to find the real bottom if it has not happened yet. And I would like to close above 657, which was the higher highs for the last week, 658. So let's see if we're going to be closing on Friday over 58. But right now it's looking good. I closed all of my puts because the VIX went down all the way to 23. And I had opened up at when VIX was around 30. So this is a good sign, but I'm still not saying, we are good for sure because I would like to see it below 20. But hey, this is great because this is what I want for to, take a lot of profits, stay around here so I can open my puts here and close them here and get my leaps. I still have leaps on Nvidia and Palantir. All right, let's look at Palantir. Okay. So Palantir is in a downtrend with the RSI confirming that as well. I like to go to the daily. So I was saying last week that the price is going into the Ichimoku cloud, which means that it is getting neutral from bearish, and looks like it's testing about the upper cloud. So it may just consolidate around here before it makes its moves, and it may be correlating with the earnings. So the market is not always moving with geopolitics and macroeconomics news and what's happening with them. It also is based on mostly the corporate earnings. If these companies are making money, right? That's why we're investing in them. That's why we're trading. I'm not an only option trader. I'm also an investor. I have to look at these things and the long term, what's happening in the long term. So, all right, let's get what's happening with, okay, I'm going to turn off the Ichimoku cloud. And for the Nvidia, okay, Nvidia has been consolidating for the last 6 months between 190 and 165 areas. And I like that it went over here. I opened some leaves. I closed them today and I booked some good profits. Right now it is near the middle Bollinger Band. And yeah, if you see that the news escalate, it could come back to 160 areas. But I said last year too, after the tariff crash, what actually made the move other than the Trump's conflicting news was the corporate earnings. So we're going into the corporate earnings. So I like that. It creates a lot of volatility. Volatility is good for options traders. And if the earnings are also well, the companies is going to do well. So yeah, this is it for the week. I like to close the week in summary 658 levels. So if we do that before Easter, I think it's a good news. And hopefully next week, if we can test 660 and go above, I think we might be seeing this V-shaped recovery that we've been all waiting. So thank you for watching my video. Please subscribe and like this video to support my channel, and see you next week.